Hi guys, I'm Benjamin and welcome to my YouTube channel. I come from a small town in the United States and just recently moved to Mexico to see what it's like here. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hi guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about the desert, specifically all the cool cacti and trees in the desert. Now I'm not really the biggest fan of talking about all the flora or fauna of a specific area, but the desert is a really cool place. Let me explain. Most people would think, hey, isn't the desert, really boring and just has cactus? Well, no. The desert is actually surprisingly interesting. Every plant in the desert is essentially forced to live around the condition of, burning hot sun and, rain twice a year, which is pretty obvious, but how they store water is actually really cool. To get videos and pictures of all these plants, we decided to travel and hike up a mountain to get all the stuff for this video. So if you like this video, be sure to thank my legs. Because it would be really bad if they weren't there, because I don't think you could go up a trail very easily in a wheelchair. Also, another thing is that the desert is actually really green because rain. Tons of butterflies around too. Overall, this is just a great time to be in a desert. Anyway, the best plant in all the Sonoran Desert, which is where I live, is the saguaro cactus. Did you know that the Sonoran Desert is the only place with saguaro cactus in the world? Yeah, so it's really popular and stuff. But it wasn't that simple. If I found a saguaro cactus, it would be on the screen right now. What I didn't know was that saguaro cactus can only be found in the northern half of the Sonoran Desert. I mean, there is a saguaro cactus right outside our apartment building, but it's not native, so it's not that cool. So despite not having the best plant in the whole world, we do have barrel cacti, which I didn't find on our trail. Really? We don't have the two best plants in all the Sonoran Desert. So that was another big letdown. But that's okay, because we have the next in line, the Mexican giant cactus, I think. It is surprisingly hard to tell the difference between cacti. The only other cactus I can find that this cacti could be is the Oregon pipe cactus, but I'm pretty sure the Oregon pipe cactus doesn't have a center stalk. This is a great time to mention that I have no idea what I'm talking about. Literally, all of these things I say about these plants could be completely wrong, so take this with a slightly larger grain of salt. Anyway, the Mexican giant cactus is similar to the saguaro cactus, except it gets 30 branching stalk things, which are pretty cool. Also, look at this thing. They get so old and big and stuff. So the Mexican giant's pretty cool, but I know you're thinking, Benjamin, you said there was variety. So I got you. The prickly pear. This thing looks sick. Now you might think that it looks kind of weird, because I know, it looks like Mickey Mouse if he got radiation poisoning and kept growing more ears. But this thing grows fruits, and we totally ate. I'm just kidding. We don't eat weird prickly pink things off cacti. The spines on these things are probably the coolest thing about them. Oregon pipe cacti have clusters of spines instead of them being spread across the plant. But they have some spines that are very loose on the plant. They grab onto you and follow you around like a thorn. I was wondering if I could try to get pricked by a lot of these cacti, but then I realized that's a really stupid idea. Once again, I'm a genie. I know what you're saying. This is boring. Anyway, the next plant's a century plant. This plant has big leaves and stuff. And, since it's a desert, its leaves are covered in thorns. They also call it the century plant because it blooms every 100 years, which is what I call a lie. It blooms every 30 years. But it's such a Chad gamer that it sacrifices itself for its young and dies right before it blooms. Also, the century plant is called the agave. It may sound familiar. Yeah, they make this agave nectar out of it, which is used as a sweetener. So this plant's actually kind of useful compared to some of the other plants in the desert. Of course, not all plants in the desert are just cacti. There's a big variety of plants in the desert. Some are trees, some are bushes, and some are whatever's in between bushes and trees. Is that what a shrub is? But anyway, some trees in the desert include some things we couldn't find. The mesquite tree, the ironwood tree, the bujum tree, palo verde, etc., etc. And this just shows that all the pictures I got for this video were from one hike. Also, I may have missed some plants that were really cool and I didn't know about. So if you're interested in some of this stuff, you should look into it. It's actually really cool. But back to some of the trees and bushes, and gosh, I really need to know the term for whatever between a bush and tree. Let's just talk about the mesquite tree. Probably the most common tree we could find. This tree has little pods on them that look like peas. Interestingly enough, they are not peas. They can be ground into a mesquite flour, which is gluten-free and stuff. It's actually kind of useful, similar to the agave nectar. It has a high fiber content and a low glycemic index. And if you don't know what a low glycemic index is, don't worry. A low glycemic index is just the opposite of a high glycemic index. You're welcome. I realize I'm trying to be informative and stuff, but this really makes me look dumb. The final thing I'll talk to you guys about is at the end of our hike, up the peak of the mountain, the sun shining in our eyes and looking down at the city. We saw it. A creepy looking bug on a cactus. Little buggy. Little bug. Oh my gosh, that thing's nasty, dude. Let's get closer. This is some beetle thing, but I only research plants, and also there's probably thousands of bugs in the desert, so I'll let you decide what it is. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It takes a lot of work making these videos. I say that when I'm sitting on my bed writing the script, and now I'm probably reading this from my chair. What does it matter? Because this is literally all written down on a script. Sorry. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next month.